I am Loki of Jotunheim, and
Yep.
I'm burdened with
Go on.
with a
Yep.
big penis.
For fuck's sake.
We made
For those of you, we made a load of dick jokes in the break between episodes while we were just setting up for the second recording, and apparently now Danny is going to bring dick jokes into this episode at great length.
yeah, hey boy,
And Girth, wait.
Oh,
There's a lot of mileage in a good dick joke. There's no two ways about it.
we are such fucking children. But before we talk about what we're talking about, which is the Loki TV show, obviously, we have some bullshit. So let's spin the wheel,
Sorry,
shall we?
Why did you say it like that?
It's a bit of build-up, Lewis. Come on.
Right, okay.
Right. Whoa. Are we ready?
No.
Way. How a proposed secrecy law would recast journalism as spying.
Dick jokes to laws being debated in the House of Commons.
Yeah.
Isn't that?
Dick jokes to looming totalitarianism. Isn't that great? Whoa.
Yes, this is... Danny sent me an article in the week. It's a Guardian article. Apparently written by Duncan Campbell and Duncan Campbell. I'm not sure quite how he wrote this one twice, but he's managed it.
Yep.
It's titled How a Proposed Secrecy Law Would Recast Journalism as Spying, in case you couldn't tell from what Danny said. If you're not up to date with this, I can't blame you. Politics is nebulous, dull, and confusing. It's not worth keeping up with the minutiae of every day, but this is important. The Home Office plans to remove the public interest defence for whistleblowing and could put reporters in jail. So what that essentially means is if a reporter goes to, the Lord Mayor of London's office and discovers that all day, every day, the Lord Mayor likes to go to Battersea Cat's home, get a cat, and then kick it out of a window. And then he decides to blow the whistle on that activity, and he's like, look, the Lord Mayor's doing this. Under this new proposed law, they could say, well, no, that's whistleblowing. You're doing damage to the government. Let's put you into jail. Yeah. Which is fucked.
Yeah, very much so. It's a not so subtle attempt to essentially try and remove accountability from the absolute shit wielding shysters in our government, you know. And I think that this was really brought on because of what happened with Matt Hancock.
That is literally just what Darius put in the chat. Yeah, I think you might be right.
Well, yeah, I think you know, it's becoming more and more clear that the Conservative government, in my humble opinion, is a rotting, festering sore that that continuously just has no regard for people's lives or the law, and just keeps getting caught with our fingers in the till. So, you know, what wouldn't you do but try and, you know, make criticising us illegal?
Indeed.
It's really weird. Like jail, isn't it like jail sentences up to like 14 years if they embarrass?
Maybe
I saw that.
Font that they write this article in is difficult to like scan. It's really not great. One of my favourite quotes from this article is, journalism could create far more serious damage than a spy. Good.
Wow.
If it could, good.
Yeah.
It should be able to do that. Because if you are in a situation where you think, wow, I'm sitting on some explosive news that could do damage to politicians, good, you should be able to share that. I would like to know the bad things my politicians have been doing. Because if you don't, then what's the point in electing them?
Absolutely. I hope that this is obvious to most people, that this is really how totalitarian states begin to form. Like, just a complete and utter disdain for the journalistic press, you know. I'm tempted to go into the realms of fascism, because do you know what? It's funny I say that. Wait 2 seconds.
I feel like Danny's about to come back with like a manifesto or something. That's the vibe I'm getting.
I'm holding a book here.
Oh, it is a manifesto. You're right.
By Umberto Eco.
Okay.
And it's called How to Spot a Fascist. And Umberto Eco had 14 particular points when it comes to spotting fascism or seeing fascism form in a country, you know. And they're pretty good, but they're not actually in the book, so I'm going to just search them. Umberto Eco, 14 points. Let's see. Okay, the cult of tradition. That's the first point. There's a sort of, I would say that there definitely is a cult of tradition in the Conservative Party. You know, you've got like Jacob Rees-Mogg with his 19...
Minister for the 18th century.
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely. You know, the rejection of rationalism. Oh, that's a fucking big one with you know, the economy reopening and letting the bodies pile
and also,
high.
Maybe Boris. Maybe we should there's a pandemic. Maybe we should encourage people to wash their hands, wear masks, all that sort of stuff. No, let's reopen it. Fuck it.
No, it's all good.
Get 'em
you
out
know,
there.
most medical people are telling the government not to reopen, but Boris, you know, in his infinite wisdom, seems to know what's best for himself
and just as
his rich
as a brief
buddies.
interruption, it goes without saying, but if you do not want to go without a mask or go without social distancing or whatever, just carry on. I know I, for one, am carrying on wearing masks.
Yeah,
I'm carrying on social distancing because it's not like the pandemic ended at the stroke of midnight a couple of weeks ago. Do you know what I mean?
It's not like
there are still people dying.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Definitely, it's not like the COVID disease is dispelled immediately at midnight, like some sort of fucking Harry Potter book, you know. The cult of action, distrust of intellectualism. You know, I think it was Michael Gove who popularly coined the phrase, "The British people are tired of experts." What? Sorry, they're tired of experts. So you know, I think that's pretty out there. The rejection of analytical criticism. I mean, all you have to do is look at
essentially any right-wing politics. A lot of it, because it's a lot of sort of left-wing politics. It literally puts it at the centre. It's like, oh well, you know, we've paid these scientists to figure out what the best way to do this thing would be, so let's do it that way because it appears to actually be the best way.
Yeah.
Things like UBI that have been tested uncountable number of times in sort of Northern Europe, and have worked brilliantly every time. And so a lot of left-wing policies like that are, okay, well, these scientists have done 1 million studies and have found it's actually really good for everybody. So should we get involved, do you think?
Absolutely. The appeal against the intruders, which I guess is a sort of reference to, you know, the sort of rampant xenophobia when it comes to immigration and stuff like that. I mean, that was the whole sort of catalyst for the Brexit movement. Yeah. The appeal to frustrated / fearful middle class. I don't recognise that one as much, but it's...
I kind of do, to be honest with you. It's, I grew up in a sort of relatively middle class household, sort of lower middle class, and so I sort of... I remember sort of seeing the Conservative government sort of start to gain power and gain authority by appealing to sort of to my parents and to households of people that I knew by sort of saying these talking points that sort of people who were economically slightly well off were sort of like, yeah, okay, that does make sense. I can get behind that. Yeah, okay, I understand that. Do you know what I mean? It's not as pronounced as you know, the day after the Brexit vote, everybody was like, "Whoa, go home." Do you know what I mean? It's not as pronounced as that, but it's definitely out there.
Absolutely. What else? Just 2 seconds. It's went off. The obsession with a plot against the people. I suppose I don't.
I'm not sure if I quite get that.
Yeah,
one.
I don't see that as much, but it's, you know, it's important to sort of keep an eye out for these things. I mean,
is that kind of a perversion of the they're all coming here and taking our jobs?
Well, yeah,
thing.
I mean that's
a plot against the people,
absolutely.
And they're telling you to wear masks. Don't wash your hands. Don't wear masks.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
You know, the sort of rampant conspiracism that's come with COVID, that there's some, you know, nefarious sort of backhanded dealings with the virus, as if it's just not an actual, you know, health problem. I
remember, sorry, this is a bit of a light-hearted interlude, but I remember just at the start of the pandemic, I would call my granddad, I still do call my granddad, but at the start of the pandemic, I was sort of talking to him about it, and he said, "Yeah, do you know where it's come from? This pandemic, Lou?" And I went, "It's come from China, hasn't it? It's spread from somewhere in China." And he said, "Yeah, well, I've been talking to my mates at the pub, and they think it's either come from China or it's come from UFOs." Okay, granddad, perfect.
The building up and tearing down of national enemies. I mean, all you have to really do is look at the influence that people like Tommy Robinson have had on certain groups of people in this country. You know, you've had EDL marches and you know, people like Katie Hopkins and just these sort of previous media people that have now just shifted completely to the, you know, the right wing of politics and constantly are talking about, you know, Katie Hopkins referred to immigrants as cockroaches, and just utter despicable sort of rhetoric that comes with these people. And it's like, you know, Tommy Robinson was like part of like UKIP, you know, like it was like an actual established political party in this country, like a man of that, just that, a man that vile and disgusting.
This is a bit of a tangent. Are you aware of what's happened with Katie Hopkins in Australia?
Oh, but that she was awarded an award that called her a cunt or something?
No, but that is brilliant. She was on Celebrity Big Brother in Australia, or she was slated to be on Celebrity Big Brother in Australia.
Yeah.
And because in Australia I don't want to say they've eradicated COVID, because I don't think that's quite accurate, but because it's a big island, they can essentially say, okay, you cannot come into the country if you aren't willing to just stay in a hotel for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And which is, I think, is what New Zealand have done, and Australia have sort of followed suit. So Katie Hopkins was flying over there to participate in Big Brother, and sort of was like, yeah, I'm not going to stay in the hotel. Like, she was sort of saying this to people like on the way and talking to people as she could. Like, yeah, I'm not going to stay in the hotel. I'm not going to wear a mask. I don't really think it's real, and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, all this right wing conspiracy nut job type stuff. And then they were like, okay, bye then. And the Australian government just kicked her out and sent her back to England.
That is fantastic.
It is, because it's so rare. Because she's rich and white, she will not see sort of consequences for a lot of her despicably racist and offensive things that she does. Mm-hmm. So it's nice to see her get a comeuppance every now and then.
Yeah, definitely. Because I mentioned the video where it was like, I think it was someone from like Australia or New Zealand that had like pretended to like be this organisation of like-minded people, and she was invited as the guest of honour and was given this award, and it like the abbreviation spelled cunt, and she she spent like an hour saying these absolutely disgusting things, and they were all caught on camera and like posted, and like she was made to look like an absolute idiot. So you know,
because it was like the Council of Uniquely Nationalistic something or other, or like the initials spelled cunt, and then they presented the award to her and the slide changed behind her.
That's right.
So it was like cunt, but like it was all the first letters of all the words were sort of big and bold, and like they had little tiny sort of the rest of the word underneath. So there's this picture of Katie Hopkins in front of a sign that says cunt, which is always lovely.
Absolutely. Number 9, the principle of permanent struggle. I guess I don't really see that as much. You know, it's like, because it's still in the. I would say it's definitely in the early stages. You know, but there is a sort of there's you know, I mean, Umberto Eco. There's echoes of fascism in this country and the way that our government sort of works. Mass elitism, nationality is the ultimate privilege. I mean, all you have to do is look at the propaganda that we were looking at last time with the One Britain, One Nation song that they're teaching to kids. You know, the Department of Education was trying to sort of put the cult of heroic death. I don't see that as much, to be honest.
I certainly see that. That's one of the things that I absolutely loathe, is soldiers. A lot of the time you'll see like in political speeches and stuff like that, and especially leading up to things like Remembrance Day, you see politicians being like, and of course, thank you to the troops, and it's almost like a compulsion that they have to say the troops every like sort of 10 seconds or something. It's really ludicrous. The one that got me was, do you remember Colin Thackeray?
No.
He was a soldier who went on Britain's Got Talent as an old man. He was I'm not going to pretend I understand the ins and outs of like the military pension system, but there's this organisation called the Chelsea Pensioners, where essentially if you are a soldier, you can go and live in this sort of shared accommodation, and you get access to sort of certain utilities and stuff, and you live there, and they get like a special uniform that they wear at like military parades.
Yeah.
And he came onto Britain's Got Talent with his Chelsea Pensioners uniform, and he sang sort of 40s songs, things like "We'll Meet Again" by Vera Lynn, and
I see.
things like that. And he won that year. And I remember being completely like thinking it was bizarre, because he was an okay singer. He wasn't amazing. He wasn't terrible. I'm certainly not better than him.
Yeah.
But like, I remember thinking, he's won because he's old enough and he's singing songs from the 40s, and people are thinking about, Battle of Britain, and we love Winston Churchill, and this is this brilliant sort of nationalism that we're all banding together with the Blitz spirit, and we're all going through Brexit together, and that was, I sort of felt like that was the reason he won, sort of thing, which was deeply fucked and really annoyed me. I remember looking it up at the time. I forget who it was that said, but someone said to us, "Oh yeah, he fought for your country." When I was sort of expressed displeasure about Colin Thackeray having won, and somebody said, "Well, he fought for your country," so I looked it up. He was in the Korean War, which I think was actually a war we lost. So is that so? Not only so, okay. Well, he was out there doing stuff, but was it worth it? No, it wasn't worth it. It was a war that not only did we lose it, if anything, the fact that we lost it made the entire situation much worse.
Yeah.
So if we'd have just never been there, do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's the cult of heroism that I see. Of heroic, obviously, Colin Thackeray's still knocking about, but like you do see it a lot with memorialising soldiers from D-Day and stuff. Like every single D-Day, they get somebody on BBC News that's either one of the last guys from D-Day, or it's, my granddad was there on D-Day and this is his service revolver, and etc. etc. And it really frustrates me.
There are absolutely wars that are completely justified. I think fighting the Nazis was absolutely necessary, but it's just the sort of this sort of cult that comes with it, as if like it's if we could avoid war altogether, and just make sure that war doesn't happen, that's probably better than
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Bolstering it every opportunity we get.
I think it's at the core of my sort of political beliefs. It's like everybody is just some guy. That's everybody, literally, regardless of anything. Everybody is just some guy.
Yeah.
And while that means that some people get a downgrade, so I think that, say, Jeff Bezos doesn't deserve to have all the money he has because he's just some guy, it means that some people get an upgrade because they don't have anything. And as they're just some guy, they get access to a house and to universal basic income and to food and to support from the state. Everybody's just some guy. Soldiers are just some guy that's just happened to be wearing a uniform that just happened to be there.
Yeah,
I understand that some wars need to be fought. It boils my blood to see this worship of soldiers. It really infuriates me.
Yeah, it's not the war that people should be celebrating. It's the fact that we beat fucking Nazis. You know what I mean? That's the thing that we should be celebrating, not proud Britannia with our flag flying in a sort of propagandistic way. It's the fact that people went over and fought absolutely despicable people that emanated some of the points that our own government is emanating. Do you know what I mean? It's like that should be what we're worried about, and sort of instead of trying to suppress journalists, we should be trying to make sure that shit like the Nazis doesn't ever fucking happen again. Number 12, machismo, which I definitely fucking see. Just this aggressive sort of masculinity that comes with men need to be strong, and we need to, one Great Britain, strong Britain. Like, it's like that's a tale as old as time, definitely.
Yeah.
Number 13, notion that the leader incarnates the will of the people, which I haven't seen yet, but there is a sort of...
I sort of have, I think, to some degree. I think there's people are overly sympathetic towards Boris. I think that it's sort of he's considered to be more of a man of the people in a strange way, of like, oh, he's doing what the people want, and we voted for Brexit, and he's delivered Brexit, so he's going to keep delivering on these things that we want. Which, you know, I don't fall into that camp, but like I have seen that, and it's like the irony, of course, is he's not a man of the people. Didn't somebody ask him once, Boris, do you know how much a loaf of bread is? And he said, no, but I know how much a bottle of champagne is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He's not at all that.
He used to, when he was at school, he used to go out and burn pound notes in front of homeless people. You know, like he's not a sort of a very morally reliable human being, as far as I'm concerned. And last but not least, 14... I mean, it's interesting. 14 years imprisonment and 14 points to recognise fascism. It sort of parallels quite nicely.
Yeah.
Newspeak, which, for those of you that don't know, is a sort of euphemistic way of speaking coming from governments, usually used in political propaganda, which I think most governments use to sort of, you know, actualise their own ends, you know, so that's not anything.
The one that's frustrating me at the moment is pingdemic. Are you aware of this?
No.
Yeah, it's a term which I think it sort of means everybody around the country is getting these constant notifications from their COVID-19 app. So your phone goes, ping, you've been exposed to somebody with COVID or whatever, so please isolate, please wash your hands extra, wear masks, do a test, that sort of thing. And it's being referred to as the pingdemic, but of course I think it's the problem I have with it is it sort of trivializes the situation of it still is a pandemic, and if you're getting the ping, it's because you've been exposed to somebody with a life-threatening disease.
Yeah.
Like, a life-threatening disease whose long-term implications are still not fully understood. People's fucking teeth are falling out. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Which is so completely random as a symptom, and yet it's just, we're using infantile language to just sort of joke about with, oh, well, you know, it's coming to an end, it's the pingdemic, oh, it's this bloody app, oh, it's just not working right, is it? Oh, yeah. I haven't been near anybody. Well, maybe you have. Maybe we should exercise an air of extreme caution. Absolutely.
It's taking these things too lightly in service of money and getting the economy open again, you know. It's just... If the government just cared about actually just keeping people alive, that would be good, you know. That would be a good thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But so those are the 14 points that you sort of recognise with fascism, and the Conservative Party has definitely, you know, resonated with
the vast majority of them.
Quite a few of them, and now they're talking about censoring journalists and locking them up for 14 years. This is extremely dangerous, and either we try and stop them or we do nothing and it happens anyway. So, you know, do your bit, protest, do whatever, you know, you need to do to try and make it not happen. And even if it's reposting something that you see about it, or you know, just try and do something, because it's like it'll just absolutely destroy any freedom and democracy that we have in this country, because ultimately that's what people like this do. They don't care about you, they don't care about me, and they don't care about anyone apart from themselves. And the sooner people realise that, the better off we're going to be. So, but that's my 2 cents on it. Any final thoughts on it, Lewis?
No final thoughts on it apart from, oh, bloody hell.
Yeah, oh, bloody hell, indeed. You can't protest, it's now illegal if the government says it. Yeah, well, there was that crime bill as well, with granting police more powers to sort of break up protest if they deemed them dangerous, which, see vagueness in laws, that's even more dangerous, because it makes them more discretionary. And that's something that you need to avoid as well. But we've harped on about it for a bit too long now. But just keep an eye out for it and do your best to try and combat it. That's all you can do.
Indeed.
But anyway, We are talking about the TV show Loki. And
Indeed we are.
it was created by Michael Waldron, and it's starring Tom Hiddleston, Sophie Di Martino, Gugu Mbatha-Raw, Owen Wilson, and Tara Strong, and other people as well.
Indeed.
Do you have an opening statement?
I do. I really liked this show. I think it's rare you see someone doing as much acting as Tom Hiddleston does. But even when he's just like, it's rare to see someone acting their arse off. It's what really got me when Sacha Dhawan came on to Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Was like, he was one of the people on screen was giving a 110% of a performance.
Absolutely.
That's what you see with this. Is Tom Hiddleston is really going for it, and that's absolutely brilliant. Have you got an opening statement?
I do indeed. Probably the best of the 3 Marvel shows on Disney Plus that does the best job of making me look forward to Phase 4. So there you go.
Indeed, yeah. No, I as you say, I really love this episode. I really this show even. I think it's really good.
No, definitely. And there's plenty of reasons as to why I think that. And let's get into them. Let's get into the nitty gritty. First question, biggest question of the night, Lewis. Favorite iteration of Loki. There you go.
It's got to be Tom Hiddleston, the Loki we follow through the show. I just think there's something so very charming about him, so very good. I did enjoy Richard E. Grant as Loki. He was very good as classic Loki. What about you?
Alligator Loki.
Alligator Loki's
Obviously.
brilliant, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, he's got a charisma about him as a cold, unfeeling animal.
I did like it when they said, "How do you know he's a Loki?" He says, "Well, he's green, isn't he?" It's just really tickled me.
And he's got that helmet on as well, which sort of works.
Yeah, that's true.
The ram helmet.
Mm.
I've got a bit of a weird question.
Hit it.
I want you to make up 3 alternate versions of yourself.
Oh my god. Okay. Right. The kind of the TVA would destroy.
Yeah, the
so
variants.
They're like
Yeah.
variants of me that have bettered myself at earlier dates than I was supposed to.
Yeah.
So there's the variant of me that's like the depressed teenager that didn't really ever get over that. And is now a depressed adult. That's a depressing one.
Wow.
I like that one.
Jeez, oh.
There's the variant of me that was big into climbing. I was big into climbing for a bit, and then I sort of stopped enjoying it quite so much. So that me is ripped as fuck, I would imagine, by now.
Yeah.
If I'd have kept it up as a hobby, I'd be really ripped.
Yeah.
So there's a ripped version of me in an alternate universe. What else? A version of me that took more creative subjects at A-level.
Nice.
Because what did I do? Like, I did maths, chemistry, Spanish, and computer science. So it's all very just memorize these things and then do an exam. If I'd have taken, like, I don't know, like English language, English literature, art, things like that, I would have been a very different person, I think, really.
Yeah.
Maybe it would have turboed me into the person I am now. Because I think now I'm more of a creative person than I am a learning by rote person.
Uh-huh.
So maybe I would have achieved that character development a bit earlier. I don't really know. What about you? What are your 3 alternate versions?
Oh, well, let me think. I asked the question, you'd think that I'd have something sort of prepared. There's the version of me where I actually get up off my lazy arse and do something. So that's TVA would destroy that. Absolutely off the wall variant of myself. The version of me that is a lobster, you know, because
Yes, of course.
I've always liked the idea of living forever. So you know, why not be a
Dun, 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 dun.
yeah.
Danny Lobster.
Oh god, that could be a TV show. It'd be the shittest TV show ever.
It's just things happening around you, and then it's like a close-up of a lobster with your hair.
Yeah, the lobster
And it's
doesn't
just like,
even speak.
what does the lobster think? And the lobster just goes,
Yeah.
or whatever noise lobsters make.
It's a lobster that makes a goat noise. That's the entire premise
Yeah, it's a
of
lobster.
the show.
Yes, it's got those goat eyes as well, with like rectangular pupils.
Yeah. And last one, the version of me that becomes an extremely religious, pious, Catholic priest. So there you go.
Nice. Maybe that version of you is so religious that you start developing like supernatural powers, and you start being able to like a paladin from like Dungeons and Dragons or World of Warcraft or something. You're like, by the power of light and God, and then you just like smash things with your big hammer.
Or I become the only Scottish Pope. There you go.
Yes.
How about that?
The scope.
The scope, yeah.
The scope. Yep.
Yep. The spawn.
The sporn. Yes.
The spawn. The holy spawn. Sporn.
Sporn.
Well,
What have you got in your sporran? It's just like little bits of like
wafer.
It's bits of the host. It's the bits of the wafer. Bits of red. It's like a little flask of red wine.
Keep my rosary beads in there. So there
You've
go.
got like a little those little spray bottles of hand sanitizer, but it's holy water.
Yeah.
So then you're like, every now and then someone's annoying you, and you just get it out and squirt them. It's clearly the devil is in you, and
Yeah.
you're just squirting them.
Yeah. I spray it on my wrist. Use it as aftershave. What about you, Darius? While we say some more stuff, you give us your 3 best iterations of yourself. I do have a criticism that I'd like to levy at the show.
Hit it.
I wish they would make Loki's change more gradual.
Yeah, in their defense, though.
What?
In their defense, they did do that with like the MCU movies, how it was like a gradual sort of changing of the type of person he was.
Yeah, but...
And then they had to like turbo catch him up to where he was.
Yeah,
They had
because
to
this isn't
take
2012
Loki and
yeah.
catch him up to 2018 Loki
Like,
when Ragnarok came out.
He's
Yeah.
just killed Phil Coulson. You know, can you remember how vicious he was in that film?
Yeah, yeah.
And yet he's like, oh no, he's fine. It's just he's acting in a way that doesn't seem to be, cohesive with the way he's acted before, which was a bit annoying.
Yeah.
They sort of made him a sort of faux hero in a sense, you know. I'd like a show where they actually made him like an anti-hero. Like he actually did bad
I think
things.
Marvel are never going to do an anti-hero, are they? The Punisher is as close as they get.
Yeah, and even then, that's like not even. Do those shows even count? Like, are they? Even
Are
part
they
of
in the MCU?
Yeah,
Really?
It's weird. What about you? Do you have any CRQs?
Not a lot. I really like Mobius.
Yeah.
This is it's strange to see sort of a male character just be that nice, just out and out nice and out and out kind.
Definitely.
And that's sort of a really nice thing to see. Like even at the end, when Loki comes back in time, and he's sort of like, this Kang is coming sort of thing, and then Mobius, even then he's like really calm, just like, okay, you're an analyst, what's your name, who are you, I want to help you, and he's just like a very open gestures, he's very calm.
Yeah.
I just really like Mobius as a character. He's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it fits with the whole sort of TVA being a sort of creepy, nice, sort of bureaucratic organisation. Like,
Yeah.
they'll vaporise you in 1 second, and then Miss Minutes will be like, "Hey, you doll," like that. You know, it's like it makes it more creepy.
I do like Miss Minutes.
Yeah.
It was she's quite charmingly terrifying.
Yeah.
In a funny way. I've seen a theory about Loki. Are you ready for a hot theory?
Go on.
Prepare yourself for a hot theory.
Prepare your nips, folks.
They're
They're about to be blown off. Go on.
Indeed they are. The theory goes that Kang told Miss Minutes to give Ravonna the files on Kang before he's Kang, basically.
Right.
So then Ravonna gets the files, goes through that time window at the end, and she's going to find sort of past Kang before he became an interdimensional traveler and tell him, hi, so you're going to be the king of everything at the end of time. So do you want to come with me and we'll sort that out? That's the theory.
So he was lying then when he was talking about, oh, loads of me are going to spill forth and all that.
Well,
Was that just
I guess
part
he
of his
was
plan?
maybe lying. I guess that was part of his plan, yeah, because that's the thing is, whatever conflict would have come, it would have already happened, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, as in, the conflict that resulted in Kang being the leader of the TVA, rather than Immortus being the bloke they find in the castle, is sort of, it's already happened by the time Tom Hiddleston gets back to Mobius.
Yeah. His plan is sort of confusing because he's like, oh, I need someone else to take over, and then if you don't and kill me, then loads of other me's are gonna spill forth, and it's gonna be another multiversal war.
Yeah.
But like, is that jet? Because like, it's hard to tell because he at first he was offering them like a peaceful life, where they get to just do whatever they want.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So it's like, what is
he said, I can just insert you into the timeline if you want.
Yeah. So what is it he's trying to accomplish? You know. Like, what is his actual final, true motivation for everything? And by the way, the guy who played Kang, I really like. What a sort of
he was good.
You know, what it was such a unique way of like having a villain. You know, like just sort of. It's like not I am bad. It's like just sort of quirky and sort of woohoo out there. You know.
I think I'm looking forward to seeing. Because I've read a lot of comic books. I don't know if you know this about me, but yeah, I've read a lot of comic books, and the guy in the castle was Immortus, obviously a variant of which is Kang, or vice versa. So I think I'm going to be interested to see, because you can see in the sort of armor that the statue is wearing at the end that the leader of the TVA is Kang rather than it being Immortus. So I think what's really going to sell me on his performance is going to be seeing the difference between Immortus and Kang, because Kang sort of behaves like a child.
Yeah.
That's always been in my eyes anyway a kind of defining characteristic trait of his. Is like, I want what I want, and I'm going to carry. I'm going to go round until I get it, and I'm going to hold my breath until I win that stuffed toy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's Kang for me. So I'm going to be interested to see, because Immortus was quite childlike in a strange way. He was quite juvenile and made sort of jokes and bits and bobs of off comments and stuff like that.
And yet there was a wisdom.
So I'd be interested to see. Yeah, that's true.
Sort of weird, sort of creepy, happy wisdom that came with it. But yeah, no, I think that Kang is going to be the new bad. I hear that he's meant to be in Multiverse of Madness.
Yes, I have also heard this.
So I think that's. I didn't really like the time travel aspect of it, but I'm glad that they're sort of going that direction now, rather than it being, it's just a one-off thing and we're never going to mention time travel again. I like the fact that they're just sort of going with it.
Leaning into it, and because I feel like if you lean into it, you open the door for writers and stuff to point out the obvious flaws with it.
Yeah.
Of like, time travel is an option, but it's also a flawed option. Like that's... I have watched Interstellar, which, I mean, it's kind of time travel, but like I liked how they viewed time travel as like a limited resource, essentially, and that I'd like to see that delved into in future MCU projects.
Absolutely.
Of like it's a limited resource and it's difficult to deal with. Like there's a classic, not classic, it's fairly mid 2010s, I think. A comic in which Kang, I think, is trying to win a battle against Ultron, and so he keeps going backwards through time to find different sort of super soldiers for his army. So it's like every superhero he can find, every super villain he can find in the time stream ever in history and the future and everything, and he brings them all to try and defeat Ultron, and it's like a whole story. But like that's what I'd like to see, is like the idea of, oh well, Kang is abusing the time stream, and then therefore time travel is becoming a bad option for us. I'd like to see them sort of deal with the negatives of it rather than just, oh, it's a cure all.
No, definitely. It's God, it's actually quite exciting. Like I said on Friday when we did the Rick and Morty episode that like we were talking about Loki and the stuff that maybe they'd sort of copied from other contents. The Loki variants, I would say, is a sort of copy of Rick and Morty, and how Rick and Morty have different sort of universal sort of iterations.
I think I get what you mean. Yeah, I think it's kind of a trope to some degree now. Like there's the Rick and Morty obviously, but there's been the Council of Reeds in Marvel Comics. Are you aware of this?
I am not.
Yeah, essentially, the Reed Richards of every reality has cracked the concept of interdimensional travel. And so they all meet. It's essentially the Citadel of Ricks.
Well, I guess,
but it's Reed Richards instead.
Yeah, I guess. Maybe Marvel didn't copy it from Rick and Morty. Then maybe they.
Yeah, like there's a Reed Richards that's like made of gas and stuff like that. Like it becomes a bit ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I suppose that maybe is where Rick and Morty got it from.
I guess so. Well, okay, I take it back.
So you fucking should, big dick.
I get the Have you ever seen Umbrella Academy?
I have seen Umbrella Academy. I saw the first season, and I tried to watch the second season, but couldn't get into it.
Do you get that feeling from this Umbrella Academy? I get that sort of feeling.
The vibe, yeah.
Yeah.
It's sort of this is going to sound weird, but it's kind of steampunk in its vibe.
Yeah.
Like it's looking back at Victorian era technology and romanticizing it and saying, okay, let's do that again, but let's do it right this time.
Yep.
Let's not have slavery and widespread disease, and let's not have all those things. It's looking back at sort of retro technology from the 50s and saying, okay, but let's do it right this time.
Absolutely.
Let's make sort of a live action Jetsons, but do it right this time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like it. I really like the keyboards and stuff and the typewriters.
Oh, I love typewriter. Wait.
I fucking love a good typewriter, and the keyboards that they use are
Yeah.
beautiful things.
Absolutely. But before we go any further, Darius has given us his 3 iterations, his 3 variants. Probably would be a different gender. That's the first one. That's a really good one. I'd like to see a female version of myself. You know, I'm sure everyone would like to see that. Unless you're female. Hopefully a better acting career. Well, I mean, I'm wishing that now, Darius. Didn't shit about in school. Yeah, I shat about in school quite a lot. So yeah, definitely.
Maybe it'd be interesting to see a version of me that did shit about in school.
Yeah.
See, because I'm not really using any of the things I learned in school right now. So, how different would it be? Do you know what I mean?
No, definitely. But yeah, Darius, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
But with that, maybe we should go into the Patreon opinion section and see.
Yeah, go on then.
See what it's mainly Darius, because Darius puts a ridiculous amount of effort into the opinions that he has on these shows.
He puts more effort into this show than I do.
He really does. He really does. So let's see.
You're missing. Please do not skip past the spectacular pun that Aditya put into the chat.
I will definitely not. You underestimate me, Lewis. Well, what did you expect? Not something this goddamn good and entertaining. Everything after this will be more of a ramble. First thing, it does. Ragnarok applies to Loki because he starts and ends this series alone. This shows to me how they played best with the format of television and enjoyed all the performances in the series.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's they used the format to their advantage in this case. Like, I think they learned a bit of a lesson from WandaVision, and to a lesser extent from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Yeah. Where people every episode were like, oh, it's Mephisto. Oh, when's the weird episode happening? When's the next weird thing going to happen? So Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson and the directors and everything were very confident in just saying, okay, these are the episodes where fucked up stuff's going to be happening. Make sure to watch these, or the rest of it's fucking pointless.
Yeah, definitely. Darius then says, I'm copying your thing of a CRQ. Excellent. He's going to ask us some questions, Lewis.
Well, hey.
Is Richard E. Grant Loki the same Loki the audience see die in Infinity War? Well,
that's a good question. Yeah,
that was the sort of thing that he was saying, wasn't it?
Sort of the implication. Yeah, Richard E. Grant Loki.
That he survived, sort of, and then
created an illusion that the Mad Titan strangled.
Yeah, and then hid, and then sort of came back and was captured by the TVA and sort of sent to the void or whatever it is, shouting out the void. Way. So I think that's what they were sort of going for, but just, obviously he survived. Is Sylvie a trans variant? The series tries to keep that very vague. Maybe. I mean, big companies like Disney are very sort of skittish when it comes to actually having representation.
Concrete. Yeah.
It's like if they'll do it in a way where it doesn't affect their profits, and sadly, the existence of trans people is something that's still fucking debated ridiculously. So, I would say that it's becoming, more accepted and trans people are getting more support. But until it's ridiculous, actually, I feel so stupid even talking about it, because it's like it feels, rather than just letting people live the way they want to live and feel as if they have to live, it feels like a trend that Disney hops on, and all these big
Yeah,
companies hop
no, I
on.
know what you mean.
You know, but
I think we're comfortable in saying it's the official position of shouting into the void. Trans people exist.
Absolutely.
Trans liberation now.
absolutely, there's just no two ways about it.
Void says trans rights.
Yeah, we do avoid that. Yep. But that's not going into the void. We're gonna put that into the world where it actually, you know, matters.
All the rest of this farty nonsense is going into the void, but that actual one bit that matters. Yeah, I'm just going to put a big speaker on my roof and broadcast it to my neighbourhood.
Absolutely.
And then somebody from down the road will be like, sorry, my baby's been crying for 24 hours. I can't get my child to sleep.
Too bad, fool.
And I'm just shouting over my own voice.
Yeah.
You hear it in the background. Trans rights, trans rights.
Definitely. But seriously, trans rights.
Yes.
Thoughts on Loki crushing himself? I think it's totally in character. When did?
I think Loki's crushing on himself. You missed the preposition.
Oh, so I did. I was like, wait. When did he do that? Is he the fucking Wile E. Coyote?
No, I think it's I think it is in character for him to like himself, but I think the thing he likes about Sylvie is that she's sort of the best possible version of himself. It's the version of himself that has all the characteristics that he so desperately wants, you know?
Yeah, I mean, he says himself that he's a narcissist, but I don't get the feeling it's because he loves himself. I think it's because, you know, Sylvie's an actually interesting person, you know?
And it's somebody that understands the struggles he's been through and can actually say, yes, I do understand what you've been through.
Yeah, absolutely. It sort of felt similar to the way that Missy and the Doctor sort of treated each other, and when Capaldi was the Doctor, you know, that sort of weird faux friendship, but also frenemy type thing, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Totally. Yeah. We're on Creeper Room statements. It's good that we have a named LGBTQ plus character in the MCU. It certainly is.
Instead of just Joe Russo or the other Russo, I can't remember which is which. But yeah, it's sat in a support group saying, "Oh, my husband's such and such."
Yeah,
that's not representation.
No,
that's you trying to get a badge.
Yep, definitely. If you're going to say a character is gender fluid, actually touch about it in conversation, not just written on a report form. Yeah, it feels similar to, like, you know, when a certain piece of shit author comes out and gives character development after the books have been written. But you know, no idea who I was talking about there.
No idea.
Also, child Loki being kind of ripped is weird, especially since, no offense to Tom Hiddleston, he really isn't ripped, but he looks amazing in a suit.
Darius, did we watch the same show?
Yeah,
wasn't there that bit in the first episode where Loki got his clothes lasered off and he's got like abs?
Yeah.
Also,
is the child ripped?
Question: was the child ripped? Is there like a deleted scene that I've missed where the child is like doing bicep curls?
I didn't really know. I just there's a kid, like, you know. Like,
it was very cute that the kid was like carrying the alligator Loki around like a baby. That was adorable. I loved that.
I genuinely thought that the kid version was going to backstab the alligator version, and that would have broken my tiny heart.
It would have.
Standout performance has to go to Owen Wilson. My mate didn't even realise he was watching him, and according to the series director, Owen Wilson was attached to the role because they didn't want him to be Owen Wilson. Yeah,
I got you. I did enjoy Owen Wilson's performance very much, but I have a hard time knowing whether it's because I enjoy Mobius, or whether I enjoy Owen Wilson.
Yeah, I definitely knew that it was Owen Wilson. It's not like he was like in a method acting sort of state where it's like, oh my god, who is that? You know. But some actors are just good at that, just being sort of iterations of themselves. You know.
Yeah, and I did enjoy. There's this interview bit I saw where Owen Wilson was said that one day Tom Hiddleston was very impressed by his performance, and he came up to him and said, "Owen, have you ever performed as Hamlet?" It's just and Owen Wilson was like, "I can't imagine Ben Stiller ever coming up to me and asking if I've ever done Hamlet."
Wow, Hamlet. Wow.
Wow.
Loki was a lot of interesting. Has a lot of interesting shots, and the music is great. In the series, worth nothing. Worth nothing. You're worthless, L'Oreal. Worth noting, the director and compulsor are both women.
Excellent, good stuff. I did really enjoy the shots. This is... Sorry, I'm running over the more important part of the sentence to get to my boring thing that I noticed. In the first Thor movie, there is a almost insane amount of Dutch tilt. Which is, it's just meant to represent, the character's got weird intentions. But in this series, there's a lot of Dutch tilt.
Yep.
Especially in the final few episodes where it's like, everything's topsy-turvy, nobody knows what's going on sort of thing. I really liked that, and I liked the through line as well. It would be it's sort of like a Loki it would be so easy for Loki to fall back into his old habits and become the Loki from Thor 1, but no, he's desperately trying to better himself, and I think that was really nice.
Did you know that Kenneth Branagh directed the first Thor film?
I did know that, yes.
I didn't fucking know. I was like, oh my god, what? It's just so weird. Interesting, the series finale ends with Loki trying to do the right thing. And Loki, as a character, has a lot of growth over 6 episodes, from wanting to rule the universe to just wanting company and acceptance from friends and family. Are you both now excited about the future of the MCU? Yes.
Yes.
I certainly am, because it was needing something, It was like... Because the WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier are very sort of contained stories, so they needed something to sort of push the whole sort of train along, if you know what I mean. But thank you, Darius, for that.
Darius had a good line that you skipped over a bit then. Loki was the most honest line in MCU history by saying no one is truly good or bad. This is one of my great problems with superhero movies, is they have a really shit take on ethics. But like if the Joker got a restraining order against Batman wouldn't want to break the law by going and hunting down the Joker. Do you know what I mean? It's a really shitty take on that law and lawfulness and stuff. But I did enjoy that it sort of tried to deal with being sort of morally grey in a more interesting way of like, people just do stuff and we attached meaning to that.
Absolutely.
So I think that's sort of, it's interesting to see that actually be explored, which is quite nice.
Yeah. Darius says, will season 2 be a whisper? That could be interesting. Yeah, definitely.
Yes, definitely. I will be accepting. I will do it without Danny. If Danny is like drunk or something, I'll just do it without.
Yes, Kang.
But yeah, I really like this show. I can't wait for season 2.
Yeah.
Adichia said, I heard that Loki is low-key amazing.
Hey, boy!
Oh, that's good. I like that. And that is also reminds me of a good bit of wordplay. Here we go. In the show, Sylvie says to Loki, are you drunk? And he goes, no, I'm full. That is wordplay in another language. How good's that?
That
it's
is
because Norwegian is the language that Loki is singing in, which is meant to be Asgardian, I think.
Yeah.
And in Norwegian, the word for full and the word for drunk are very similar. They sound very similar.
Wow.
So it's like he's making a bit of a joke about, it's like a pun. So I don't know. I just really, really like that.
It's such a tiny, minute detail that just sort of makes it. Yeah.
If I haven't mentioned this, Miss Minutes somehow gave me a jump scare. Yeah, Miss Minutes gave me a jump scare too.
Me too.
I don't like jump scares. I think then they're not an integral part of good horror.
I like them when they're used effectively.
Yeah, they can be used effectively, definitely, but I think they are often not.
Yeah, true. But yeah. Well, thank you, Darius and Adichia, for your wonderful comments. And do you have any sort of extra stuff, Lewis, in terms of
any extra stuff?
In terms of
let me have a
notes?
think. I want Tom Hiddleston to get that helmet from Ragnarok again. That one where it's just kind of a headband. That looked so fucking cool.
Really
and he took
did.
it off his head and smacked people. Oh, it was so good.
Oh.
I love Tom Hiddleston. He's really good. He's a brilliant actor.
Yeah, definitely. I'm trying to just think.
I'm just watching Loki like, all of this is great! A final thing. Watching all these Marvel series in quite such quick succession like we have been doing, it's made me like sort of get like a Pavlovian response to the Marvel fanfare. It's like all of a sudden, all over again now, I hear it and I'm getting like goosebumps and I'm like, yeah, I'm in for something good. It's like I don't know, I'm excited for Marvel again. It's great.
Yeah, well, because when Thanos was like coming around the corner, it was like, oh shit, everything's gonna hit the fan. And when the Infinity trailer dropped, I was like, shit, this is gonna be amazing. So it's like, and they've done it in a different way as well, like introducing sort of the big next level threat rather than just another film where there's a post-credit sequence. Like they've dropped probably what's going to be concerning the next 5 or 10 years of the Marvel Cinematic Universe in a TV show on Disney Plus. So, which switches it up a bit, but
there's an Instagram filter with Loki horns. Wonderful.
Yeah, I think you posted a picture in the chat with yourself with the horns. So that was kind of
I do like that the Lokis seemingly can't quite agree on what the horns are.
Yeah.
Because obviously in real life there are lots of different types of horns, like ram's horns or little tiny Darth Maul horns.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like great big sort of deer antler type horns. I like that none of the Lokis can quite agree. It's nice to see sort of, this Loki has got golden ram's horns, and Sylvie's got the horns where one of them's like a little bit broken off, and I don't know, it's just really cool.
Absolutely. But I think I'm out of notes.
I am also out of notes.
Yes. Do you have a closing statement?
I do. Really good show. Can't wait for season 2. Full stop.
Amazing. I like this show, and it's nice to be able to look forward to something again. And it doesn't feel as self-contained as the other shows can feel like. It feels like part of the bigger sort of story overall, which, is refreshing.
Definitely, yeah.
So, sorry, what were you going to say there?
I was just going to say, we've got a bit of extra bullshit. Bullshit to Electric Boogaloo.
Yes, we do.
Whoa!
Are you ready?
I am, I'm ready. Spin that wheel, and then tell me when it stops spinning.
Woo! It's still spinning. It's still spinning. It's still spinning.
Uh-huh.
It's still spinning. It's stopped.
Ooh. Hey, have you heard the news about the next season of Doctor Who?
No.
We talk about Doctor Who a lot on this show, dear listener. I don't know if you've noticed, but we have a lot of opinions. Doctor Who are abandoning previous sort of structures and going for one overarching storyline for the entire series, and every episode will have a cliffhanger.
Oh my god,
what do we think about that?
That's very interesting. I'm kind of excited.
Me too. Because at the end of the day, that's what WandaVision, Fatwas, and Loki were going for.
Yeah, but is that just copying
this one overarching story? I imagine so, yeah, because it's what a lot of shows are doing nowadays. A lot of sort of modern produced TV shows are sort of taking the idea of one overarching narrative of just a movie and then cutting it up into 6 episodes or whatever.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll get 1 or 2 little anthology type episodes in the series, but I think it's all just going to be one big story.
That's what I was going to say. Like, TV shows are just becoming shorter and shorter. Like, it used to, in America, it used to be like 22 episodes a season.
Yeah,
and then it became like 13, and sometimes it's 10. But now it's like going down to like on
6
and 8. Like, it's like, I hope that we're not like losing like important sort of character stuff. Like I mentioned Breaking Bad on Friday, but like Breaking Bad, it was like
it was 20 episodes a season for 6 seasons. Yeah.
No, it was 13, I think.
Oh, okay.
And it was 16, in the last season. But like, even though that's like it's 13 hours of television, like it gave you time to sort of see these characters sort of change. And I think I worry that like if it's just 6 episodes, that's a lot of sort of development to go through and a lot of plot to go through at the same time. So I'm a bit wary of it, but I do like that Doctor Who is switching it up a wee bit. And
as do I, yeah, because the narrative that's been the problem. Has been that there's there's both too much and not enough overarching narrative. And so maybe just a complete overhaul of it will help massively.
I think it's going to help Chris Chibnall a wee bit more because
I think so.
Like when he did
the Chibster,
the big Chibbers. He obviously did Broadchurch, which is a show that follows on from each episode, and Broadchurch is very, very good. It's a very good show. It's very well written. Can
I tell you a secret?
Go on.
I have not watched Broadchurch.
Fucking David Tennant and Olivia Colman. Oh my
God. I know. It's one of my great shames is that I haven't actually watched it.
And Jodie Whittaker's in that as well, and she's fantastic. It's like, but maybe it's a bit easier for him, and it's going to make it a bit more sort of in his sort of ballpark, and maybe him, having it more like classic sort of series was just a bit sort of a bit difficult for him, because like you got with like previous Doctor Who seasons with like Russell T Davies, like, there were sort of hints sprinkled throughout the season about, you know, what the big bad was going to be, or the big sort of threat. Whereas you would get a little bit of that with like you got an episode with Tim Shaw at the the first episode of season 11.
Yeah.
And then he showed up at the end of season 11, which was
odd.
Yeah, I mean,
to say the least.
Yeah, the Tooth Fairy or whatever the guy. So it's like it was completely out of nowhere. And what was season 12? There was Sacha Dhawan as the Master, which was and then there was that middle episode with the new Doctor, Ruth. So I mean that was like I think Chibbers is desperate for it to follow on from each other. You know, I think that is his bread and butter. You know, it seems that he was hinting towards that. The Timeless Child arc. Oh fuck yeah, I forgot about that. It's been so long since I've thought about Chibbers' era of Doctor Who that I'm like, oh no, what a load of work.
I'm remembering how weird it all was and how kind of crap it all was.
Yeah. I watched a really good video on it called The Fall of Doctor Who. And you know,
is that 5-hour video essay that I've seen in my YouTube recommendations?
Yeah, it's really good, and it explains a lot about the problems with Chibbers' sort of era. So it's not just us being bitter shits, you know. A lot of this same stuff was said.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I am a bitter shit, but
yeah, but no, I'm excited. I want to see how it goes. You know, like no one watching Doctor Who wants it to fail. That's the thing. We want it to be good. We want to be entertained.
Thing, yeah.
You know, but we'll see. I guess. What about you, Lewis? Do you have any sort of hot takes or thoughts on it?
I'm afraid that's it for now. I don't know. I want Doctor Who to be good again.
Yeah.
There's so much good sci-fi out there, and I absorb a lot of sci-fi just through, because it's probably sci-fi, maybe horror are like my favourite genres. So I'm always on the lookout for like a good sci-fi TV show or a good sci-fi book, especially.
Yeah.
So it's just frustrating to me when we get to a point where it's like, oh, the new series of Doctor Who's coming out and it's a bit shit.
Yeah.
It's like, well, okay, can we just please try this time?
No, definitely.
Can we please just have a go at making something new and different and good? That was what got me so excited about the last season of Doctor Who, was that it got progressively better as the series went on.
Yeah.
I remember as we were doing the Whispers, every single episode I was like, oh, this is getting better. Oh, this is getting better. Oh, this is getting better.
Yeah.
And then the final episode just shit all over itself. And I was like, oh, well, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It was like they were doing stuff that was different. And while a lot of the episodes were a hit or a miss, like Orphan 55 and the what was it called? Praxeus, is that it? The plastic one. It was like I can't even fucking remember. But like the introduction of the other Doctor, the lone Cyberman, like these were like
really good, really exciting.
The haunting of what's it called?
Villa Diodati.
Yeah, that is like, because it's Mary Shelley, and there's this literal epitome of Frankenstein's monster walking about. That's interesting. That's really a really cool, interesting concept. But obviously, it's just with execution, you know? It all comes down to that. Because some of the stories are just like, wow, that's a really good idea. And then it's as if it doesn't have faith in its own sort of premise, you know? But I think this structure will really help Chibnall in a way that it hasn't before.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
You know? And it might, you know, keep people more engaged, I would say. But I guess we'll see.
Indeed. Maybe they're hoping for like a bit of a Twitter mob to form. Of like, oh, what's going to happen next week in Doctor Who?
Yeah,
is it going to be Alligator Doctor?
Love Island at the moment. Love Island's on, and like every time
I go to great lengths to avoid Love Island. So, and not only do I not know that Love Island's on, I actively do not want to know that Love Island is on.
Yeah, it's a guilty pleasure of mine. I watch it with my girlfriend, so it's like you know, while I hate everyone in the show, I do love a bit of fucking needless vapid drama in my life, you know.
Well, I do love a bit of reality TV. It has to be said. I do love reality TV. And I think while there are reality TV shows that have been really nailing it, like RuPaul's Drag Race has won about 1 million Emmys every year for the last decade.
Yeah.
But like, there are also reality TV shows like Love Island that are just, they exist to be a guilty pleasure. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
By the way, nobody ever talks about this. How fucked up is it that 2 people that have been on Love Island have killed themselves?
Yeah.
How fucked is that?
I think it's more. I think it's 3.
Is it Jesus?
Like,
The show has a.
Caroline Flack, who was the host.
Oh God, yeah, of course.
And there was 2 other contestants. I mean, like Jeremy Kyle was taken off there after 1 person killed themselves. So it's I mean, as much as I treat it as a guilty pleasure, if less people kill themselves, if the show is put off, then put it off immediately.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's no sort of 2 ways about it. But we've went into Love Island now, so maybe we should do a bullshit for that another time.
Indeed.
But
go on. I've got some shilling to do then.
yes, we absolutely do.
Lovely stuff.
We all have Linktrees. Lewis's Linktree is linktr.ee/Lewis_Brindley. Mine's is /O'Hiram. And the podcast is /Shouting Into the Void. There you will find all our socials, our YouTube, our Instagram. Go check us out, see what you like, and report back if you find anything good.
Yeah, it'll be news to us.
We have a PayPal donate button, so anything you can spare, anything at all, would be greatly appreciated. We also have Patreon, and we want to take the opportunity, as we do every week, to thank our wonderful, wonderful patrons. Chloe.
Thank you.
Darius.
Thank you.
Peter.
Thank you.
Aditya.
Thank you.
Richard.
Thank you.
Natalie.
Thank you.
And Dougie.
Thank you, one and all. You truly do make the show possible, and you allow us to keep on making it just how we want to make it. So thank you very, very much for enabling us in the strangest way to make this fantastic show. So thank you.
Absolutely. And last but certainly, back up. We also have merch.
Sorry, what was that noise?
That's backing up.
Oh, of course, the universal sound for backing up.
Or a broken seesaw. We also have...
Hang on, whoa. Surely a broken seesaw wouldn't make any noise, because it would just be down. It wouldn't move.
Lewis, I'm wanting my lunch here, right? We also have merch on Teespring and Redbubble. We sell tote bags, jumpers, t-shirts, mugs, tote bags, jumper. So go have a look, see what you like.
T-shirts, mugs,
them.
Mugs, t-shirts.
Oh, I didn't mention them.
Tote bags, jumpers, mugs, t-shirts.
So go have a look, see what you like, and treat yourself. Treat yourself. Christmas is nearly here. No, it isn't.
It's July. Christmas, therefore, is nearly here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go to Tesco. You got all the Christmas decorations are up.
Absolutely.
Get your Christmas crackers early.
Yeah. Woo! Make sure to say Merry Christmas instead of Happy Holidays, because the war on Christmas is destroying the Christian tradition of Christmas. Watch H Bomber Guy's video, it's funny.
Yeah, H Bomber Guy made a good video about that.
Yeah. And last but certainly not least, we are partnered with an amazing company called Number 12 Crochet Avenue, and Lewis is going to say some wonderful things about them, all of which are true.
Indeed I am. Number 12 Crochet Avenue is a wonderful company run by my wonderful wife, in which they crochet, and they're very good at it too. They like to do all sorts of beautiful, very aesthetically pleasing crochet. So if you would like to check that out and bless your Instagram feed with some wonderful additions, you can go to @Number 12 Crochet Avenue on Instagram and take a cheeky look and give it a cheeky follow and a cheeky like and a cheeky everything else. And thank you very much. That would mean the world.
Absolutely. Well, that's us, I think.
That is us.
So, for those of you that don't know, Black Widow is out on Disney Plus, but it's Premier Access. So we may do Black Widow at some point to sort of complete the Marvel set. I mean, we'd need to, but for now, Marvel is done. We've talked about Marvel for too long.
We're gonna have a bit of a break from Marvel. Do some more independent stuff, eh?
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of which, are you ready to hear what we're doing next week, Lewis?
No.
Well, tough. Whee! It's still going. It's still going. It's still going. It's Train Spotting. Yes, it's a cult classic.
There's one.
Oh, Jesus! It's a cult Avanti. It's a cult classic.
There's another one.
Shut the fuck. It's a cult classic, directed by Danny Boyle, and it was based on the book by Irvin Welsh, and it's depressing as fuck. But yeah, you gotta take it down a peg. Lewis said that he wanted depressing and Rick and Morty, so here we are. So yeah.
I wonder what we'll do next week when we're talking about this. If I say I want a really happy one, what would Danny suggest?
Happy Feet.
I'll be like, have you ever seen that Max Miller quote about Happy Feet 3?
No.
He said, if you put a gun to my head and told me that I had to write a script for Happy Feet 3, I would tell you to shoot me.
Well, I mean, I reckon I could do some justice to the Happy Feet franchise.
Happy Feet. Oh, God.
I could take it in a new direction. I just want to thank Darius, who is in the Void channel at the moment. We have a few patrons, as we've said, but Darius seems to be incredibly sort of, he's a stickler for sticking with us, because it takes us a couple hours to do this, and Darius just happily sits there and listen to us ramble about a load of shite. So Darius, you're a good egg, and thanks for your continued support. It really means
thank you very, very much, Darius. It does mean the world.
Yeah. But I think that's us.
I think you're right. I think it is us.
Yes. So we will see you, hear you, smell you. Create a weird bureaucratic thingy to protect the
Citadel of Void.
Yeah, Citadel of Lewis and Danny's.
It'll just different versions of me and you.
Yeah, that would be fucking pointless. So yeah,
look, that Lewis and Danny just killed each other.
That's just it.
Oh, look, that one did too.
Yeah.
Oh, look, that pair did. They're all doing it.
Yeah,
Ah!
Every Lewis and Danny has killed each other, and we're the only ones left because we're so banal and benign that we just can't be bothered. So that's
we're the ultimate boring. Yeah.
Absolutely. Do you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna try and get cartoons, mate, because we have like our podcast art. So I'm gonna get 3 cartoons made of like different variations of us. And we can do that for when Loki comes out again.
Sounds excellent. Yeah, we'll do it for the whispers.
Absolutely. But until then, we will see you, hear you, smell, blah, 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 blah. Goodbye.
Yes, thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.